Hello guys, we are here with a brief introduction of Dawn editorials. We will also discuss the discourse markers, important figures and facts, punctuation marks, and many more. Our first editorial is State Bank of Pakistan Autonomy. The changes suggested in the existing State Bank of Pakistan Act should place the central bank in a better position to control price inflation and manage currency through an independent determination of its monetary and exchange rate policies as per international best practices. The changes approved by the cabinet the other day will reset the state bank of core function and prevent frequent political intervention in its working. If parliament clears the changes, the bank will acquire vast powers to solely focus on its new function of domestic price stability without having to support the government economic growth target. It will nevertheless continue to indirectly foster growth and help a fuller utilization of nation's productive resources by fighting price inflation and ensuring financial stability by using its policy tools. Nevertheless, is a discourse marker in between the double commas that will not break the flow of sentence. Though the target inflation rate for the bank to achieve will continue to be set by the Nation Economic Council, the government will no longer be in position to dictate monetary and exchange rate policies. Previously, again a discourse marker, we have watched the state bank functioning as an adjunct to the finance ministry with its governors obtaining advice from the government or easily succumbing to pressure. Succumbing means give away, yield or submit without thinking of consequences for price and financial stability. We have, for example, seen the bank go out of its way to interfere in the market and spend billions to maintain the exchange rate at the level suggested by the previous PMLN administration at the cost of exports and foreign exchange reserves. Not only that, it would not hesitate to print huge amounts of money to lend to the government and fuel inflation. Likewise is again a discourse marker followed by a comma and independent view by the Bank of Economic and Financial Trends and critical analysis of government policies in its reports have been rare. There are many instances where central bankers were sent home if they took a stand. If the changes are approved, the situation is expected to become better. The draft law also proposes sweeping administrative and other powers for state bank governors besides granting his tenure that has been extended from 3 to 5 years with possibility of extension for another term. This is understandable because no one can steer the bank without complete administrative freedom and guaranteed tenure. Nonetheless, again discourse marker, these kinds of power also anticipate. Anticipate means expect, foresee, predict, a strict evaluation of the candidate for the top office and their accountability by parliament. Parliamentary evaluation is crucial to ensure that right person is chosen for the job after a thorough debate by the people's representatives who should also have the power to fire them if they find their performance below par. Clearance of their appointments by the parliament will empower them further in executing their mandate. Hence, it is advisable that government revisit the draft law and change the method of selection of state bank governor in line with international domestic practices. Next editorial is about GB's demand. The demand of the people of Gilgit-Baltistan for provisional provincial status is not a new one and has been reiterated again by the region's assembly. On Tuesday, the GB assembly passed a unanimous resolution. Unanimous means agreed by all, supported by all parties in the House, demanding an amendment to the constitution to enable GB to become a provisional province of Pakistan without prejudice to Kashmir dispute. This unanimous resolution was that the region be granted the status of a province of Pakistan and provided representation in National Assembly, Senate and other federal institutions. It is also called for representation of the region in Senate and National Assembly. According to GB's Chief Minister Khalid Khurshid Khan, the demand is of the people of the region, not of any party or individual. Moreover, again highlighted in different color, that is a discourse marker, before last year's election to the region's assembly, Prime Minister Imran Khan has announced that northern areas would be granted the status of province. You can see the double commas here. The long-standing demand of people of GB is indeed a just one. The region's people are present in almost every part of country and very much form part of the national fabric. The area's people have contributed to the country's progress in health, education, arts, sports and military fields. in fact opted for Pakistan right after independence, putting up a brave resistance to the Dogra rulers of Kashmir, yet their constitutional status is ambiguous. Ambiguous means not clear or decided, while they have also representation in the upper and lower houses. This is a situation that should be remedied mean cured. The concerns of the some within the ruling circles about the matters affecting Pakistan case vis-a-vis India held Kashmir vis-a-vis means via if GB is merged as a province are genuine, as historically the region has been linked to Kashmir, but this is why the proviso of granting provincial status has been included in the resolution to protect Pakistan's case under the relevant UN resolutions. Over the past few decades, successive governments have taken steps to grant GB greater autonomy. This was witnessed during the Musharraf era, while under the PP's watch in 2009, the region gained its present nomenclature changed from the colonial area, northern areas. While all these moves have contributed to ensuring great rights in the region, the time is ripe to grant full provisional status, albeit on provisional basis, to maintain area as per the democratic aspirations of the local population. Double dashes will break the flow of sentence. Of course, homework on this front should be done thoroughly and legal changes must be cleared by experts to ensure full rights to the region as well as protect Pakistan's position in Kashmir dispute. Our next editorial is about out of school children. How can a country hope to become economically self-sufficient when at least a quarter of its children population has never seen the inside of a classroom? According to the government's own figures, 1 in every 4 children in Pakistan has never stepped inside a school, and learning poverty is 75% in the country. Learning poverty is the percentage of children unable to read an age-appropriate paragraph by the age of 10. The incumbent, present government, seems to have a fair idea of the challenges, and the Federal Education Department has come up with a framework to re-enroll out-of-school children. There are at least 18.7 million children who do not go to the school, a figure that is equal to the total population of a small European country. According to the framework, a summary of which was presented to Parliament, the government plans a phase-wise reopening of classrooms from the most to least disadvantaged areas of the country. The plan calls for providing dedicated and cheap transport services to female students and teachers of secondary schools, training support for teachers and bridge programs for students resuming school. All this may look good on paper, but how effectively will the plan be implemented, especially since the education is a provincial subject? Though the federal government education ministry has vowed to work in collaboration with the provincial and district tiers of the government, it is easier said than done, because the ground realities differ from one area to another, while district administrations are non-existent. Secondly, data has also shown that those children who are in school are not learning well. The plan makes hardly any mention of existing education infrastructure and how it can be improved. The government needs to further develop this plan to identify problem areas and chalk out clear short and long-term targets, and then devise a mechanism of collaboration for their implementation. Getting 18 million children to school is a mammoth task that will require consistent and back-breaking efforts for many years by all levels of government. Mammoth task is a task which is used to emphasize that task or change is very large and needs a lot of efforts to achieve. Thank you so much. This is all about today's Dawn editorial.